This is the setup of the Sun Sail Cabana. I saw this first on Sullivan's Island outside of Charleston. I thought it was really cool. These folks just rolled up to the beach with, as you can see, this small bag on their back. And they unfurled it, set it up, and had a lot of shade for the amount of space that it takes up. The pros about this, it's lightweight and it does provide a lot of shade, but there are a few downsides and I've had to modify my set. So the first thing is you need a screw anchor, which is what I'm putting the main mast, or whatever you would say, support pole in. I've had this thing tip over so many times because it's just really difficult to put that deep down into the sand, but you really do need a screw anchor to keep that from tipping over. The skeleton parts are mostly PVC and they're not very durable. There's two optional poles in here that are not really pictured because it's a windy day, but those optional poles are used to support the fabric of the shade when there isn't any wind. And the points that go into the sand have come off, so I have to have two extra screw anchors in case there's no wind. So at that point it does become kind of bulky. Right now you'll see that I'm taking apart a modification that I had to make. I put a smaller pole inside of a larger pole, and you'll see why in a second. So there's a crossbar that's about to go up, which is made of two different PVC pipes, and you're supposed to jam those together, and then that holds up the rest of the fabric as it screws into the main mast. And that just comes apart all the time in the wind. There's just the stress of the wind pops it apart. So I put this smaller PVC pipe, which is white in this video, and then I drilled holes through on either side of the crossbeam, which you'll see in a second, and I put in wing nuts to keep it stable. So as you can see, that white is going to sort of span a small portion of each of the pipes that are coming together. And the hard thing is I have to line up the holes that I've drilled through every time, and then put the wing nut through. But other than that, I use it all the time. Like I said, I don't get sponsored by the companies that I review. I just buy things and then I make them work for me. So I always tend to have a positive review since I still have these things. They're a lot better than the umbrellas that I was using that had so little shade and weren't very adjustable, or they were really, really heavy. So it being lightweight, that's a real big plus for me and my family. So I still like the Sun Sail Cabana even though I had to modify it. You can see here the wing nuts. You just open this Velcro on the side and slide through the crossbeam. There's a little hole in the center, and you just seal back up the Velcro on the other side. This is what screws into the main mast, and then it'll attach. And that's just a plastic screw in, just kind of a little plastic clamp really And I'm going to screw it in right now. That wasn't a video cut, by the way. That was just a zoom out. Then I've just got to throw in some sand. What's really interesting about this setup too is when the wind changes or the angle of the sun changes, it's really easy just to reposition the whole thing. I don't have to change the angle of the mast or anything like that. I can just move the sandbags around, or I can just use that to angle it differently into the wind. And at sunset, I can just almost lay it vertical so that it provides a lot of shade that way as well. I fit my family of 3 under this. They're not in the photo because they didn't want to be. You'll see there's a slight curvature on the mast, but that's more due to the wide angle lens that I'm using than what it actually looks like in real life. Right now I'm just kind of adjusting it for maximum angle to kind of pull the sandbags back a little bit so it'll keep the fabric taut as the wind blows. I'm sure you can do a better job than I did, but that's what I do. So it took, what, 8 minutes to set this up? It's not too bad. So yeah, that's my review of the Sun Sail Cabana. If you guys have any more questions, just let me know. I'm very happy to answer anything, and I'll give you the straight answer.